Adam Smith said, the best result comes from everyone in the group doing what's best for himself, right? That's what he said, that's right? Incomplete. Incomplete.
It's Adam Smith. Who's wrong?
Hollywood can be so stupid. Adam Smith said we do well for ourselves precisely by serving others. The baker, the brewer, the butcher. Smith said get rich if and only if they serve others. Russell Crowe, the actor there, would know he has become a multimillionaire by giving moviegoers what they want. How can people who live in a world of wealth that was created by capitalism constantly condemn capitalism? That was a movie clip, but it's conventional wisdom in political and even economic circles too. Thus, my next guest in his new book, Why We Bite the Invisible Hand, Financial Post columnist Peter Foster looks at the psychology of anti-capitalists and why they mistrust and fear the free market system that sustains them. Peter, great to see you here. I think about this a lot because I think of all those billionaire Rockefellers whose great-great-great-grandpappy made so much money out of oil and steel and coal and railways, and they hate everything industrial, but they don't hate it enough to give up his inheritance, do they?
No, absolutely not. And in fact, in the book, I go into the way Rockefeller and co. were called robber barons. But in fact, they were some of the most useful people who ever lived. Rockefeller brought down the price of kerosene for the ordinary man. You know, Andrew Carnegie brought down the price of steel. Cornelius Vanderbilt brought down the price of transportation. And their reward was to be dubbed robbers. Bizarre.
Yeah. Well, that was then, but here, I look at protests. I deal with them all the time. Some of them live consistently. I mean, the Unabomber, he said he hated technology, so he did without most of it. Mm-hmm. PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they're generally vegetarians. But what gets me about types like the Rockefellers or the Tides Foundation or the Hewlett Foundation and all these big foundations and all the anti-oil and gas activists is that they're not like PETA. They're not vegetarians saying you become vegetarians too. They love their money. They love their oil and gas. They love jetting around their cars, their petrochemical products like cell phones. How do you, Russell Crowe, how do you become a mega millionaire TV star, movie star, and condemn the system that you're using? How do you, what's the psychological trick there?
Well, I mean, the basic problem is they simply do not understand the system. I mean, it seems like a paradox that we can live in and thrive in this system, but we don't have to understand it any more than we have to understand the way our spleen works in order to stay alive. It's a natural order, as Smith said.
Right.
So, I mean, the price system guides us, as you say, towards serving the interests of others, and we can only serve our own interests by serving other interests, and in the process, we bring about, as Smith said, a good that is no part of our intention. Unfortunately, it's no part of our understanding as well. So we can have our cake and condemn it too.
Yeah. You know what? There's a G20 rioter named Alex Hundred. He was sentenced to 13.5 months in jail for smashing stuff in the G20. He was raised in Forest Hill, one of the richest neighborhoods in Toronto, went to Upper Canada College, probably the most expensive school in Canada, more expensive than most universities, and yet he is downtown smashing windows in the name of anarchy and anti-capitalism. Like, how does someone process that? What are they hoping for? Like, what's their mission? What's their religion?
Well, I mean, I think they're motivated by demonization, which is a big factor when it comes to capitalism. Moralism is based on demonizing things. Moralism isn't so much, morality isn't about being nice just to our own people. It's about being nasty to others. And capitalism is easy to demonize because it's contrary to our unevolved, as I say, moral sentiments. Smith wrote a book called The Theory of Moral Sentiments. And it's easy to portray capitalism as being all about greed and exploitation and leading to inequality and corporate power and resource depletion and now planetary destruction, according to climate theory. And yet we don't see any contradiction between this and the fact that we're living in this astonishing world, which is full of amazing technology, more wealth and welfare, longer and better lives. I mean, it's extraordinary, and yet people have no trouble just being hypocrites.
We're almost out of time. Last question. I think part of it is guilt. People who feel guilty for how easy their life is because of capitalism want to hate that because they see others who don't have capitalism, don't have freedom without, so they, instead of fixing the socialism or the broken democracy in another country, hate themselves. They take the other side against themselves. How much of it is guilt?
Yeah, I think guilt has a lot to do with it because, as I say in the book, we have this sort of zero-sum mentality. We believe that if we have a lot, then that must mean someone else has less. And in fact, that's not the way capitalism works at all.
Yeah, it's a positive-sum game. Listen, great to see you here. Good luck with the book. It's called Why We Bite The Invisible Hand by Peter Falk.